Blazers shocked the Lakers in Game 1, 100-93.
Let's bring in Tim Legler now from the home studio. Tim, this was a game that went back and forth. The Blazers looked like they took charge in the first quarter. Lakers come roaring back in the second quarter. And then they battled back and forth in the second half. But late in the game, the Blazers hit the shots that mattered. Break that down for us.
Yeah, really amazing that they had the legs under them to make those shots late, because you're talking about a team at the Lakers that put a lot of length out on the floor. They were picking up Damian Lillard at half court pretty much all night. They had guys jumping out on him with the bigs the entire game. So then to have the legs under you to make these kind of shots late, and C.J. McCollum obviously chipped in with a couple of huge threes, also had a big runner during that stretch. But look at this shot by Lillard. That's 35 to 38 feet. That late in the game, when you've had guys hounding you for 45, 46 minutes to that point. Hassan Whiteside defensively made a couple of huge plays. Melo, Gary Trent Jr. also huge shots late in this one. So it was really a matter of Portland looked like they were running out of gas. The Lakers, I thought, had taken control of the game about 6-minute mark. And amazingly, they were still able to get the shots that they were looking for in that situation and knock them down. I think it's a testament to getting a team that just played basically 9 straight playoff games since the time they landed in Orlando. They had a guy in Damian Lillard who's a top 10 player in the league who was going off coming into this game. When you're dealing with that and you're the Lakers and you haven't played a meaningful game since mid-March, you've got your hands full, and it was just a matter of could Portland be in the game to allow their best player to make plays late, and that's exactly what happened.
Tim, if there's a number that jumps out from the box score I'm looking at here, the Lakers 5 for 32 from three-point range. Was that just good perimeter defense or a lot of clunkers from L.A.?
Combination of both of them. This is a weakness on this team. We know that. They're susceptible to having nights like that, and they try to beat you up with their size and power and length with LeBron and AD, and even that front line with McGee and Howard and what they could do on the glass. They're counting on a guy like Kyle Kuzma, to give him some of that perimeter production. And he had a slow start to this game, had a little spurt there in the second half. But for the most part, they did not get a lot of additional contributions from those role players that they are going to need to knock down shots. Danny Green missed a number of really good looks in this game. They didn't get much from KCP. They didn't get a ton from Kuzma. Caruso really didn't do anything from the three-point line. So they did not get what they're going to need, supplemental three-point shooting to help the playmaking of LeBron James and Anthony Davis. They don't need to go off like some of these teams do from the three-point line. They just have to make enough so that you have to honor them, and it's going to make things easier for LeBron and AD. It's a weakness of this team, and it reared itself tonight.
So, Tim, how much trouble are the Lakers in right now? There's a tendency to overreact when these sorts of things happen, but is there a legitimate cause for serious concern?
Yeah, I definitely think there is. I mean, I've been saying for the last couple of days that this was a serious problem for the Lakers coming into this because of the fact that they just haven't been able to replicate anything that amounted to pressure. And all of a sudden now you're going to walk out there and there's no home court. You're not going to get the adrenaline rush you would have gotten at Staples Center if you're in that situation where you're playing out the last couple of weeks of a normal season without meaningful games. But then you walk out on a Staples Center and you get that adrenaline, that electricity. They didn't get that tonight. So where are they going to get it? Portland has been able to manufacture that since they've been in the bubble by playing big games and finding that offensive rhythm for this one, one of the best backcourts in the league. So this is a serious problem. I said coming into tonight that it would not shock me if the Lakers dug a hole in this series. Now, ultimately, in a best-of-7, you think the better team is going to win. So I still think the Lakers will win this series, but I do think the Portland Trail Blazers are going to give them fits. This thing could go the distance. Ultimately, I think the Lakers, combination of AD and LeBron and just the ways that they affect the game and their force on the game, ultimately will win this series. But this was a problem for Lakers coming in, and it manifested itself exactly that way.
All right, so Portland with an eye-opening win in Game 1. We'll see what happens in Game 2 on Thursday. Tim, we appreciate the breakdown.
Thanks, Dan.
All right, Magic taking on the Bucks. Aaron Gordon.
The Magic and the Bucks get it going. Orlando very much at home in the bubble. Game 1, Aaron Gordon's out with a hammy injury. Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Vegas title favorite Milwaukee Bucks. Round 1 of the playoffs. Bucks had trouble keeping hold of the ball in the first half. The Magic outscored the Bucks 15-6 off turnovers in the first half. Nikola Vucevic taps down the pass to Eric Bledsoe, and Markelle Fultz gets it to Vucevic. The three at the other end there.
Able to knock it down.
Gary Clark
Well, they changed the forward three. His foot was on the line.
had a transition three. See Middleton the miss. Brook Lopez a rebound. Terrence Ross comes from behind, rips it out of Lopez's hand. Bucks have 9 first-half turnovers. They average 15 for a game. The closer look, you see Ross showing the aggression. And then during the timeout, Lopez showing his frustration, kicking a chair in the back of the huddle. Milwaukee, imagine if their home crowd was yelling at them during this kind of game. Final minute of the third quarter, Magic up 8. Fultz the kick out, Vucevic mid-range, and then Vucevic popping off the screen. And put Orlando up 4. And at this point, what's going on here? It's a 9-point game. Vucevic screens and pops for another 3. Vucevic finished with 35 points and 14 rebounds. Second player ever with 35 and 10 and 5 made threes in a playoff opener, tying Steph from last season. Fourth quarter, Ross comes off a screen, and Brook Lopez, he's just watching. DJ Augustine feeding the cutting Ross with a wide open slam. Out of 7 to play. In the fourth, Magic up 8, Augustine hits the transition right over Lopez. Gonna kick some more chairs. Magic up 11. 6.5 to go. Augustine, Ross cutting to the hole. Another easy basket. What is up, Milwaukee? Number 2 minutes left. Here's Fultz. Misses. Magic. Even when they miss, offensive board. Evan Fournier does that. Clean living by Orlando. The Magic led the final 44 minutes of the game. Go on the win, 122 to 110. What's up, Milwaukee? Orlando closed as 13.5-point underdogs in this one, and for good reason. The Magic were 0-4 against the Bucks in the regular season. They lost by 17 points a game. That all went out the window in Game 1. Orlando's win is tied for the 3rd largest playoff upset over the last 20 years. And you would think the Magic would enjoy this one.
We got to believe in each other. We got to believe we can win each and every game. We got to go out there and compete like it. And I think that's where it starts, with just our confidence and locking into game plan and knowing that we got a chance to win. This isn't just, he say, she say type of stuff where we listen to the outsiders, We got a group of guys who believe in each other and believe we can go as far as we want to.
There was a level of aggressiveness, and, throughout a game, that can change just like the scoreboard can change. And we've got to be the more aggressive team for more of the 48 minutes. We've got to play better.
The West played harder than us. They played better than us, but we played hard, obviously. But they made shots. They had the momentum. Yeah, they just played better. I don't know if they played harder. We got to play harder. So even if they play a better game, we can still win the game. We can still put ourselves in a position to win the game.
Magic are the 4th 8 seed to win their playoff opener by 12 or more. The first was the 1998 Rockets, took down the Jazz 103-90. Utah, though, would rally to win the series in 5, went all the way to the finals that year, lost to Michael's last dance Bulls. The next year, the Knicks blew out the Heat by 20. New York finished the upset with Allen Houston hitting the game and series winner in Game 5, went on to become the first 8 seed to reach the finals. And the We Believe Warriors took down the 67-win Mavs in Game 1. They too would finish the upset, becoming the first 8-seed upset a 1 seed in a best-of-7 series. Joined out by Tim Legler. Legs, this is where you tell me you had the Magic all along to win tonight. Is that right?
No? Not exactly, Steve.
I mean,
not exactly. This was one of those ones where you're like, okay, I got to watch 4 games today.
Right.
That's probably the one that you're thinking you're not going to have to watch as intently. Boy, was I wrong about that.
So if ever you would think a heavy favorite, and they figure, hey, we can just roll the balls out there and we'll get on with this series. But, you sort of the offense, we'll get to that, but especially the defense, the easy baskets by Orlando and throughout the course of the game.
Yeah, Mike Budenholzer is going to hate this film. There is no aspect of the game in which the Milwaukee Bucks outplayed the Orlando Magic. They were dismantled. You saw the numbers. They led for 44 straight minutes in this game. Defensively, very uncharacteristic. They just were out of sync. Their communication was poor. They did not help on penetration. They weren't there to help each other on ball screens or isolations. You see the miscommunications on some of these screens. I mean, it really looked easy for Orlando. You know, normally if you see a team like Orlando upset a #1 seed the way that they did, you're thinking, okay, they must have shot 75% from the three-point line, like something crazy happened offensively. Really, it was just basic basketball. They were beating them on cuts all over the floor. They were beating him in transition, getting open looks. They did a pretty good job defensively bottling up Giannis for the most part. But really, for me, when I saw the Bucks starting to lag behind on screens, I saw right away their concentration wasn't there. I don't know if they took this team lightly or they just weren't feeling that #1 seed vibe you normally get running out of that tunnel in a building that you're 28-3. That is out the window. So you've got to manufacture your own electricity. And they did not have it. Give the Magic all the credit in the world because they executed their offense to perfection.
Hey, look, we see upsets all the time. You know, if Orlando wins this on a shot at the buzzer or just eke by, but, I mean, they pretty much dominated throughout the game. They led by as many as, 18 a bunch of times. And so where was that offensive production by mighty Milwaukee in this game today?
Couple of things. First of all, Chris Middleton's got to be a lot better. He can't be that quiet. He's a guy that's been to the All-Star game. There's questions around him when the playoffs start. He has to be much better. He was not aggressive. He never found his rhythm. But then I also thought they settled for shots. When the game was still winnable, when you get into the fourth quarter, you got to have more poise than this. The Magic are forcing Giannis Antetokounmpo to take that early three. They want Eric Bledsoe to take this quick three. That's exactly what they want. They're going to live off of that, and particularly when the game got late. You see 4 bodies in the paint. Giannis sees it, but there's still plenty of time on the shot clock. Move the basketball, come off a screen, get into the paint where you could dominate this team physically. I thought they showed a lack of poise when this was still a 2-possession game, 3-possession game with plenty of time left. They started really settling for that shot and trying to get that, that hero dagger shot to get them back in the game. And that's just not the way that they like to play, not with those guys taking those shots. So I think you're going to see a team now. Go look at this film tomorrow, and they're going to be embarrassed by what they see for a #1 seed, a team with the best record in the NBA, because they just weren't there on either end. Now, look, like I said, give the Magic credit. They had no answer for Vucevic. He was fantastic in this game. And then everybody that came in off the bench for Orlando outplayed the Bucks bench. That's not something you expected coming in. So give them all the credit. But come on, this is the #1 seed in the NBA. They've got to be a lot better, and I expect them to be in Game 2.
Legs, quickly here on the way out, you alluded to it, manufacturing your own energy. If this game is played in Milwaukee, I don't play at the Mecca anymore, but that was a long time ago. But anyway, if this game is in Milwaukee, do the Bucks lose this game to the Magic today?
Well, it's hard to envision that happening. They were barely pushed in their building all season long. But remember, Orlando beat Toronto last year in Game 1 up there. And then Toronto went on to win a championship. So maybe this is the kind of cold water in your face that can really help a team that's got great aspirations. But look, there's no doubt that adrenaline that you get at home, even if you're flat, eventually that's where the defense really kicks in, because that crowd helps you string together stops when you have to have it. That's really where the home court advantage comes in more than any other area. And they certainly weren't getting that today. The virtual fans just weren't up to the task today to get the Bucks some stops. And that's, look, it's a big blow to a team that was that good at home. 28-3, and to lose that's a major loss to the Bucks, but they're still a better team, and they've got to make some serious adjustments and play with more desperation in Game 2.
And no one will be surprised, Legs, if the Bucks go on to win this series in 5. Legs, we'll talk to you in a little bit. Tim Legler with the very latest on the stunning upset from earlier today.
We've got more.